If you're like me, you love college football. We live, eat, sleep, and breathe for those Saturdays in the fall. The underdogs, the rivalries, the painted chests, the flyovers, the marching bands, and the last-second touchdowns. But what really amplified kickoff and hyped up the already much-anticipated day was ESPN's iconic morning show, College Gameday. Every morning at about 6:30, we'd wake up and bask in the highlight reels from whatever insanity happened on Pac-12 after dark. Whatever funny thing Mike Leach had to say the previous week.
It's not whether you win or lose. It's like the team that wins is the one that has the most fun. You know, that crap like that. You know, all this stuff that's contaminated America where they give every kid a trophy and they don't keep score in Little League anymore.
The Bears' best bets, Super Dogs, Tom Rinaldi or Gene Wojciechowski's moving story of a player overcoming all odds, the Washington State flag flying high, the exciting celebrity guest picker, and to cap off the morning, a mascot head was adorned by Lee Corso.
And I'm going with Jake and Tom.
Wow!
After a rambling monologue, which was received with fanatic cheers or boos and mild disapproval. All on a frenzied college campus, signs bobbing and flags waving. This last year, it was apparent that the magic wasn't quite there. The captivating combination of studio analysis with moving stories seemed to be losing some of its shine. I can't help but point to the mass exodus of popular contributors and Lee Corso's puppet-like presence. It's just not the same. Pat McAfee brought some much-needed energy to the show, but there didn't seem to be the same chemistry, especially since his pricey addition seemed to come at the loss of David Pollack before the 2023 tour. The exodus began with Tom Rinaldi leaving for Fox in 2021 after 19 years, followed by the Bear bidding farewell for Big Noon Kickoff in 2022 after 29 years, and Gene Wojciechowski's departure in 2023 amid network layoffs. These losses were significant, and the show struggled to adapt. It should be noted that Fox's push into the college football morning show market with Big Noon Kickoff has been quite successful, especially considering Game Day's dominance since its inception in 1987, nearly 40 years ago. Their starting lineup in 2019, the first season of the show, was eye-catching. However, what has sometimes hindered their appeal is the fact that their trips are limited to games broadcasted by Fox in the 12 p.m. time slot, meaning that they often miss the more compelling matchups of the day. This is where College Gameday has had the advantage.
Not so fast, midget! Not so fast, midget!
But that doesn't mean that the series cash getting pumped into Big Noon Kickoff doesn't mean anything. Big Noon has had to play an alternative role to College Gameday, and they're playing the role well. By offering competition to an otherwise monopolized market, Big Noon is helping college football media innovate and progress to become more compelling than ever. Although they're having to go the extra mile to do so in on-site giveaways and live music,
What I love, 5, 4, 3, 2. Let's break it.
and even getting Gordon Ramsay to roast college football teams.
Georgia, is this schedule a joke? UT Martin, is that even a real school? Play someone proper, you wusses.
They found a comfortable spot competing with Game Day. If we look at raw TV ratings, interestingly enough, Game Day has had its second highest viewed year since 2011, averaging 2 million viewers per show, with Big Noon averaging a healthy 1.2 million. I think the numbers were still high due to Pat McAfee and the large audience he's brought in with his fiery and sometimes obnoxious attitude.
92nd consecutive
Who cares?
for Washington State.
We got showing this flag when they were 1-11 in 2009.
We were,
How
yeah.
about 2-10 in 2010?
Yeah,
Hey,
we
no
did.
success, Ryan Leaf.
Yeah.
As well as the massive popularity of Deion Sanders bringing more eyes to the sport. McAfee has had some ups and downs in his first 2 years on the show, and ripping on the Washington State flag was definitely crossing the line, but fans have generally positive reviews of him. In my opinion, losing David Pollack was a mistake on Game Day's part. I really miss his analysis and general presence on the show. The show seems to lack the chemistry that made things feel so fun and natural. Most notably is Lee Corso. and his condition on the show.
Let me tell you why he just said that. You know who he picked last week in that game? Who? Missouri.
Yes, I picked Missouri.
That's why he said that. Come on, man. You got to keep up with my man.
I love the guy, and I'm sure all of you do too. He's the face of College Gameday. But it's hard to watch besides the headgear selection. Maybe 2024 will be his last year, and he'll have an official retirement tour and put a cap on his legendary career. With Nick Saban set up to join the show this fall, his analysis and understanding of the inner workings of the game might reel back some viewers and reignite the game day magic. Some may say that Saban won't be suitable for such a premier position because of his closed-off personality. Truly, only time will tell how it turns out, but we must realize that Saban has been the face of major programs over the years and has had to stay closed off in regards to his opinions on the rest of the sport to not attract unnecessary attention. Now, that doesn't mean he hasn't had some funny press conference moments.
You know, all that stuff you write about how good we are and all that stuff they hear on ESPN, it's like poison. You know what I mean? It's like taking poison, like rat poison.
Or made points about the
When
sport.
we give somebody a second chance and they do well and graduate from school. There's always a lot of criticism out there when somebody does something wrong. Everybody wants to know how you're going to punish the guy. All right, but there's not enough for 19 and 20-year-old kids, people out there saying, why don't you give them another chance?
It's that most fans haven't seen that side of him. A camera isn't always in his face like a Kirk Herbstreit or a Deion Sanders. His transition to media won't be super drastic, as he has appeared on Game Day numerous times and dealt with the media for decades. Along with being one of the greatest college football coaches of all time, he was in coaching for over 40 years, so I'm sure he'll have excellent insights that Game Day and fans across the country will welcome, especially now that he isn't terrorizing their teams on the field. The question is, will he have the consistent charisma that will not only bring viewers in, but keep them? Will Saban's addition be enough to reel back those turned off by Game Day's recent antics? I think so. With an old head like Saban, he'll bring a steady presence to the show and possibly become a greater influence for positive change and increase outreach for the sport that he's already revolutionized. We can all hope that the decision makers at ESPN can help elevate the show that has already helped grow the sport we all love, especially in such a tumultuous time. If you enjoyed this video, consider checking out what's happening with Billy Napier and the Florida Gators, and don't forget to subscribe.